it's Kristen, and I'm sorry, from Life of Crafting, and I'm making this beautiful elf girl from Elizabeth Designs Girl Elf. That was her packaging. So you get a lot of different dies in this set, and I'm going to leave it here so you can kind of get an idea. I have this going in a on a card in my Cozy Christmas from the Paper Rose series, and she's matching that. So I did go over in that series, and I decided to pull it out and do its own video because there was so many little details to this that, you know, if you made a mistake, it's not going to be the end of the world. But I kind of had to pay attention a lot to certain little pieces, certain directions of pieces, and I'm going to go over that. The packages I did came out of the Santa Sleigh version. It's a different die that's in this series, and I cut these out, and I made a mistake because this was the bow that went on the largest package, and I'm making the smallest and the medium, and I'm not throwing these away. I'm going to put it on there, and the only difference really is that you need to cut the length off. That's it. So no reason to waste those go. So I'm going to start laying these out in a little bit of a fashion because you have things like arms and legs and cuffs and all that kind of stuff. So I started from her head and worked down. It was just easier to do. I'm sorry about my creaky chair. So here's what you have, all these tiny, tiny pieces, and I'm trying to lay them out so you can get an idea what you're working with here. And it does look like it's a lot of like mumbo jumbo, but it's really not that bad. So I started with, I explained in my video, I used a little bit of a antique linen dye ink, and I just gave it an overall brushing, and then I went back with spun sugar for the cheeks. I used an I think it was 55 marker for the eyebrows and nose, and just a fine tip Sharpie marker for the mouth. I did, these are cut from here. These are the eyes. I find it easier to just dab the glue on the face than trying to put the glue on the back of the eyeball. So from here, I just used my reverse tweezers. And there are little indents so you know where to outline things like the nose and the eyebrows and the mouth and where to place these eyeballs. So I did these 2 dots because that's what she had on her design. And what I did was I do these first. This is a number 5 Jelly Roll pen, and I just set these aside so they can dry. It takes a minute, so while that is drying, I would do the package, and that's when I was coloring. I added some, I think it was Y21 to the hair. So I was setting those aside, but those needed their bows. So just put, like I said, put the glue on the bigger piece. Stop like trying to fight yourself. Now if you look, there's a bigger part and a smaller part. If you make a bow, the top, you know, the bigger part is always the top, but the tail's coming down. So that is one way to look. Like I said, if you don't get this right, you know, it's not the end of the world. But just some of the tips I noticed putting this together to give it that uniform look. And they went right here in that little indent in, and the bows are cut out from over here. So by now this is dry. They give you this piece, and it was kind of like confusing to me. I think what this is meant to do is give you like something to balance the whole head on. There is, if you notice, like a little bit of a flat spot. It's not a perfectly round circle. So to me, that was the bottom. Again, I'm putting the glue on the bigger piece. I cut this out of ivory cardstock so you can see it's a little bit darker than the white. And then you can see where you need to do the ink on this because it's really kind of light. Now this, I did have to line up. You want a little bit for a neck, not a lot, just a little bit to show. And you have to pull this all the way down or you're going to start getting like the back showing around the ears. That was something I found. It was the piece I cut off. So that's that. So like I said, I work from the top down. Now, the next piece was the hat, because what happens is, again, oh wait, I'm sorry, I lied. The next piece is the hair. And you need to leave a little bit above the ear, but not a ton. And I messed up, and I do have a little bit of that showing over here. And I'm going to just cut that off now without the ear. So then it's the hat. Now the braids are going on absolutely last. You want to leave a little bit more of a gap here because this is that like floofy crown. I just did one bead along the bottom and that's going to come down, and you have to watch that you don't get hair showing in there. So I put it so it was just on that edge, and I only put a bead of glue here so that this fluffs up. So that was the head. So then the next piece is this, and this is the shirt. And if you notice, the shirt has like a little bit of an indent here. What happens is you match up the shoulders. You're going to match up the top nubs on this piece, because again, they're going to leave you a little bit of a bottom here, and my guess is they did that so that your skirt has something to grab on. Now the skirt, I don't have anything on the bottom to grab to. I'm only putting glue on that top. And if you put it right there, it's not going to look right. You have to overlap it a little bit to the shirt. Find that it, you know, I'm using this art glitter glue. It dries quick enough that I don't have to sit here and keep holding each individual one. So now we have the shirt, the pants. I found the next piece that was easier to work for me were the legs. Now, if you look at the legs, there's a little bit, and it's not much, a little bit of a widerness. It's more widerness, making up words here. It's a little wider at the top than the bottom. If you think about your legs, your thighs are bigger than your calves. At least they should be. So those went in here, and I tried to give them like a normal. I'm putting this on like a little snowbank. I did put this on here, then the skirt, because I didn't know where I need to kind of visually see where I want to put them. And I figured that looks like a little bit, you know, like going out an angle. Looks a little bit more natural to me. I do have a little bit of it showing here. I will trim that to back. So again, I just keep going with the leg. Now, you can choose. You can either put the socks on the outside, which would be on the front, meaning it's this way, or you can put them on the back. But you need to pick one or the other because it's going to look funny. So it's either 2 on the front or 2 on the back. Because what you'll see is when you go to put the little fluffy piece on top, you kind of want it to look consistent. Like I said, you don't have to have a whole lot of overlap. Again, if you're using, I definitely would not attempt this with an ATG gun. You're never going to get this done. You need liquid glue for this. And I definitely recommend something like this art glitter glue that has a very fine tip to give you just a little bit of a dot. Now those are the little poofs, and I put them a little bit above. Like I said, if you look, this tip for this art glitter glue gives you the most little tiniest drop of glue, and that's all it needs. So now we can start to see what she's going to look like. This piece, they did lay them out kind of consistent. Like here's the arms and the shirt. That's the bows and the eyes. That is the hands, and that's the neck. So again, you're going to cut these out of like the same paper. So they did lay this out kind of good so that you can get your items in the, you know, like the coloration that you want. So like, you know, this is going to be your hair. So those two went together. The two legs, like, you know, like they did lay these out in a good way, in my opinion. Like they actually thought it out, which was nice. This is the collar piece, and as you can see, there's the down pieces. Again, you have that little bit of an inside curve that matches up to the shirt. Like I said, if you look, there's a little bit of a dip, and the shirt has a little bit of a dip. You just have to match them up. So then you can still see the neck, which was, to me, again, you know, part of the reason that it looks so cute. So the arms. The arms have a little bit, I think it's better showed here. They have a curve to them, and there's a little bit of a wider part here than down here. Think about your arms again. This is going to be more of your bicep than this is going to be your wrist. So I really, again, you need these in the front or the back. Sorry, I did that wrong. I had these coming from the back. And because I have her holding packages, yeah, see, this was easier. I'm trying to do this on the white so you could say, but if you do it on a mat like I had here, these pieces aren't going to stick to something like this. This is why I use this, and it's the ugliest, skankiest thing. But sooner or later, yeah, I'll bring my glass mat in. This one, I missed a tiny little piece off of there, but it's not going to matter because it's behind. If you watch the video, you'll see, like, I literally was using every piece of anything to finish these off that I could. Like, I desperately needed them. So these little things that are turned over are the cuffs. I did them last because I need the hands holding those packages, and these you have to alternate. If I'm doing this corner, it's going on this hand, and that's going over here. That means this one has to go on this corner because it's going in this hand. And you may be like, well, how do you know where you're putting these? You know, you think about it, your wrists do go up, down, so it still looks natural, but you do need just the tiniest bit of glue to get those hands latched on. And again, you can put the hands up or down, or in the front or in the back is what I guess I should say, but I found that putting them in the back seemed to work the best. And the packages didn't have to be straight out. I mean, I don't think any of us would really expect that. So the last two things are the cuffs and then the braids. The cuffs are very minute in the way they are done, but if you look, there's a point that goes down, and that, to me, if you think about, like, most cuffs will like kind of pull in the bottom half because you have your hands up, the fabric's going to pull down. It's these little details that Elizabeth's Designs thought about in designing these that makes this so cute. Whether it goes on the right or the left did not seem to matter. Again, it did not seem to matter which was the right arm, which was the left arm, which was great. But, you know, there is some direction as far as, like, what goes at the top, what goes at the bottom. And that's why I felt this was an important video to do separately, to point out all these little nuances that I found. These, I did want the braids in the back, but I wanted them kind of like coming over, like you can see they come over the front of her shoulder. So yeah, I should have snipped, let me snip this real quick. You can see I needed to let her arms do a little bit more drying. So I just came in from the front. If you think about it, like, I want it behind her ears because that's kind of like where it would fall if you were really making a braid in somebody's hair. Like I said, just snip it a little bit. And then this will dry. I mean, these are all done the same way, and you can see like they're not as flimsy once they dry. So you just need to, you know, they do need to dry a little bit. You know, she's not floppy. And the thing with this set that's really cute is they have a boy. They have like these winter accessories that can go with them, so it doesn't have to be an elf. You can just make her a regular like little girl. They had a bunch of different ones, and I did buy them, but I haven't made anything with them yet. And then the last thing was this little pom-pom that's getting elusive for me. These I bought like at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. Like, they're tiny, I will admit. Those I did find I had to, which is why I'm doing them less. I did have to leave my reverse tweezers on them to hold it for a minute. So that is the Elizabeth Designs Girl Elf. I hope I could help you with making her. She is absolutely adorable. So I'm hoping you got something from this. If you do, please like the channel. I have plenty more content coming. And the notification bell that everybody talks about hitting is so that you know that you've got a new video that's there. Look at this fly. It's been following me all day. All right, have a nice afternoon.